President Trump says this is an economic revolution and we will win. The end result will be historic. So we're going to kind of touch a little bit more on that, but welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. To the XRP holders, appreciate you guys as always, for tuning in on a regular day-to-day basis. Let's face it, if you're still here, give yourself a pat on the back, because in terms of retail interest right now, in terms of, people being optimistic on crypto, it's quite low right now due to the fact that there's a lot of uncertainty. Looking across the board, obviously we're in a weekend. On the weekends, more manipulation than usual due to the fact that CMU futures are closed, but, you are seeing the market down right now. XRP down 2.1% with the price currently sitting at $2.09. Also down 1.6% in Bitcoin comparative. Now, if you're looking at the valuation, 122.2 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume is sitting exactly at $2 billion. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So, as we know, there's a lot of uncertainty. As we know, a lot of people are, uncertain about, the future of, the economy over the next, 6 to 12 months. But I've been stating over the last, few weeks on my channel, even though, what we've been hearing about, the tariffs, and all that stuff, I think it's going to be short-lived. I think we could actually see more downside in the upcoming months ahead of us, but I do believe this is going to have a positive ending at the end of the day, because of course right now the entire outlook is bearish, to be quite frank with you. If you're looking at it from the equity market standpoint, if you're looking at it from even crypto, a lot of people are bearish. And usually, when you do tend to see over like extensive amounts of people that are being bearish on the markets, you do tend to see the opposite playing out. So let's see what happens. Of course, Monday is a very, very important day. I've stated this to you guys before on Friday, because of the fact that people want to see how the market reacts. A lot of analysts, some are projecting, we do see a crash, but we'll see what happens, because of course if everyone is starting to think it's going to crash, you could see the market makers really stepping in and you're doing the complete opposite. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Of course, this is, there's more to it than just the market going down or up. There is much more to it at this point. But on the bright side, Ripple XRP stablecoin RLUSD passes $1 billion in monthly transfer volume. Very, very exciting stuff, of course. But look at this, XRP whales are active right now. About 4x the same amount of XRP was transferred. 267.8 XRP worth out of half a billion dollars in total. Something is happening. So you're seeing big amounts of XRP being transferred. When you do tend to see this types of XRP being transferred into unknown wallets, it just brings the question: is it just people that are accumulating? But it kind of goes back to what I've been saying on my channel specifically. I think it's OTC. OTC trading is a real thing, because these big, a half a billion is not a small amount. To be quite frank with you. So if indeed this does belong to one person, if they were to buy this on the open market, you do see the market reacting, you do see the price reacting. But people that buy OTC, it has a zero impact on the price, and it's pretty much just a transfer. So this could be the case. Maybe they're just starting to stack up their holdings for the long term. But it is quite interesting to always note to see these major whales making some moves. But on that note, poly market users now predict a 54% chance that the Fed will cut rates when they meet in June. And I think this number, as we do get closer and closer to the meeting itself, the FOMC meeting in June, I think we are going to see this number increasing due to the fact that there's so much uncertainty right now. I think it just makes sense that we do see a rate cut happening. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Let me know your personal thoughts down below in regards to that. I think that will be quite bullish for the markets. If you do see a rate cut, I think this could really trigger upside for the crypto markets. But now that brings the question: are we going to see the market pretty much heading towards the downside going into this meeting itself? Possibly. We'll see what happens, of course. But look at this. Bitcoin News posted this. Ripple isn't waiting for change; it's coding it into the system. RLUSD is powering auto payouts to 500 plus drought hit pastoralists in the Kenyan using real-time satellite data. Smart contract will send $75 per person instantly if vegetation dips below crisis levels, and no middlemen, and no waiting. And backed by Ripple, Mercy Corps, and Diva Donate, this is a blockchain being used for real people in real time. Relief gets that are fast tracked and trusted. Very, very important. And, this is the beauty of blockchain technology, right? And forget delays. This is the age you see and trace from the sky down. Is Ripple quietly becoming the blueprint from the next gen humanitarian aid? Time to watch closely. And when you look at it from that point of view, things all start aligning. Remember, at the end of the day, real world use case, and it is providing that. But let's take a closer look and see what's happening with the price. So as far as the dominance is concerned, I indicated this in my H bar and Caspa update. You're starting to see the dominance pretty much picking up very fast once again. Of course, it shouldn't really be a surprise because BTC is ranging at the 38.2, but pretty much has been on the neckline. Obviously, if you don't hold this support, we could be making our way down to the likes of 80K once again, and of course that wouldn't sit well with a lot of people. But we got to be quite fair to realize what's happening with the global economy, and some of the factors that can actually have an impact on crypto markets. So right now we're still pretty much in the neckline. It could literally go either way right now. We'll see what happens. We're waiting for confirmation right now. As far as XRP is concerned, I want you guys to take a look at XRP's price on the hourly time frame. We're still in the 38.2, but you can see we might retest the likes of that 207 maybe tomorrow morning. And of course, if this does not hold, and maybe making our way down to that $2 price point could still be on the table, depending on what Bitcoin does. But in the grand scheme of things, XRP is holding really good. I'll continue to say that because in reality it is. People, yes, want all-time highs after all-time highs right away, but you cannot neglect, what's happening on the larger scale. But let me know down below what you guys think. We'll see you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.